We are all the children of Abraham and have gathered here on these days to affirm our brotherhood with one another before our common Father, Creator of the universe. May this remarkable gathering that has succeeded in convening us here as a historic first in Jerusalem, may it serve as universal testimony to the possibility of such unconditional acceptance of one another, of peace amongst the children of Abraham in Jerusalem and beyond, fulfilling the words of prophet Isaiah, chapter 52, verse 7. How beautiful upon the mountains the feet of the herald, who declares peace, announces goodness, declares salvation, says to Zion, your King truly reigns. He reigns in Jerusalem and in our whole world. Amen.
As we approach the year 2000, two significant religious anniversaries are about to be observed. Judaism and Israel are celebrating 3,000 years of Jewish history in Jerusalem, the city of David. Christianity is making preparations to celebrate the start of its third millennium of history. Anniversaries are occasions for rejoicing, reflecting, and sometimes for mourning. They cause us to look backward into the past and to review, assess, and commemorate both our accomplishments and our failures. Anniversaries also cause us to look to the future and to rededicate ourselves to what we are celebrating.
It was a marvelous moment in Jewish-Christian relations when in December, at the very end of December 1994, delegates of Israel, the Vatican signed mutual recognition of one another. True, formally this was a political document between two states, but everyone saw the angels dancing around the pens because there was heavy theological implications that finally the church, in a very mature way, learned how to absorb what was earlier a scandal to its theology, the return of the Jewish people to their own land. This is a very hard task that the church took upon itself, to figure out how to articulate its own theology given that fact. And similarly, for the Jewish people to formally acknowledge the church as a frame of reference for a billion people, and to do so with dignity and respect.
It was only in 1938 when Pius XI made the statement, we are all spiritually Semites, that this began to change in the Catholic Church. And then in 1965, at the Vatican II Council, they produced a document called Nostra Aetate, which is the Latin for in our time. And there they wrote about our relationship with non-Christian religions. And they touched specifically the Jewish religion, and the Muslim faith.
When Vatican II spoke about the Jews, it admitted openly that the covenant God made with the Jews is irrevocable. And the covenant that God made with Christians does not replace the covenant made at Sinai, that the Jews would be saved through their own covenant. It recognized officially that the Jews were not responsible for the death of Jesus, that it is the sin of all humanity that is responsible. It acknowledged that the mystery of the church can only be pondered in the context of its Jewish past, where people like to argue about whether Muslims and Christians believe in the same God. The Pope has repeatedly said that we do. And if we believe in the same God, the Pope has gone on to say we can pray together. And since Islam is very much concerned with social justice, he is trying to plug into this concern for social justice with belief in one God to try to bring the two groups together.
In Israel, the first stirrings of interfaith dialogue and cooperation are taking place. Throughout the world, the relationship among Judaism, Christianity, and Islam seems poised to enter a new era. In the West, changing immigration patterns and changing social values, especially in Canada, are leading to the emergence of a pluralistic, multi-faith culture.
North America, I think, is wonderful with the variety of religions and the variety of nations that it gives place to. And I think it's wonderful. It's wonderful that Jews and Christians live together in North America and talk to each other and try to aim at understanding each other. The purpose of the dialogue is the dialogue itself. I don't think it really matters what they talk about.
What we now have is a kaleidoscope of all faiths of the world which are represented in this country. In that sense, we are really a truly postmodern global village, as was envisaged a long time ago by Marshall McLuhan. And the United Nations has called Metro Toronto, for example, the most heterogeneous city on earth. And that includes ethnically, racially, linguistically, and by faith. Every faith on earth is represented in this town, in fact, in this country.
Internationally, I think more and more Muslims are realizing that there is a great need for dialogue. Therefore, we have found many Muslim scholars, specifically living in the West, who have offered their services to indulge in dialogue, to discuss with Jews, Christians, and people of other faiths also, to explain their beliefs and to understand others. The world is shrinking, and in order for us to coexist, we have no choice but to undertake meaningful, non-confrontational, non-rhetorical dialogue.